You are watching ADTV, Area Director Television, brought to you by the Area Directors, Franchise Services of Choice Hotels International. ADTV.
Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to review the Revenue by Rate Code Summary Segmentation Report that Choice Revenue Managers use to analyze weekly STAR data. This report will show you where the property is improving or declining on specific market segments and specific rate code accounts, and that's very valuable information. Before we get started, there's a couple of reminders that I'd like you to be aware of. Number one, make a master copy of the report and don't use that when you're running your individual reports. Make a copy of the file every time and save it by property name. It's very easy to write over the data of the report, and that makes things messy. If you use the master and the copy system, you won't have that problem. Secondly, remember that we use this differently than the revenue manager. They're tracking weekly STAR data, and we're looking at more of a snapshot of results of sales or marketing efforts. So while we're looking at this monthly or quarterly, they're looking at it weekly. So our system is going to be a little simpler for what we're trying to give the properties to use. Thirdly, please don't share this entire file with the properties. It'll confuse them and they'll write over it as well. So instead, when we're done, it'll generate a sheet of data, and we will share that sheet with the hotels, and then they can utilize it to see where they need to move the needle as far as sales and marketing efforts. Okay, so the first step is to open up the Instructions tab. And instruction number one is to run your Revenue by Rate Code Summary for the date range from Choice Advantage for the current year. And then we're going to run the Revenue by Rate Code Summary for the year that we're tracking year-over-year data. So now I'm going to go over to Choice Advantage. In Choice Advantage, you want to run reports, and you're going to run your Revenue by Rate Code Summary. And since we're in the current year, we're going to pick our date range. And so in this case, we'll run year to date. And importantly, I need to run it in a CVS format. And I submit that. And it generates the report down there. Okay? I'm going to run this report and open it. And I am going to copy and paste all of the data, including the headers. And I copy. And then I go back to the current year tab. I right-click, and I paste the data. Then I'm going to repeat the same process for last year's data. So I go back and change the numbers to 2018. Still CSV. Submit. Open my report. Copy and paste all of the data. Right-click, copy, go back to the original file. Now I click the last year's tab, and I drop that information in. Okay? So current year, last year, same dates, cut and paste, copy and paste, drop it in, headers and everything, and it gives you the numbers. Okay? So now that we've dropped in the year-over-year data for both the current year and last year, same time period, now we have to go clean up the rate codes. And for that, we return back to the current year tab, and all we're trying to do is get rid of that little squiggle on the group. So I literally go up and select it and delete or space. And then I also want to review any package rates and see if it's there. So in this case, it's only on the group. Now I go to the last year, and I do the same thing. It's on the group, and I eliminate that. And I'm going to check and make sure that there's any packages, and there's no more there. Okay? So now that I'm back to the instructions, I've run the current year data, I've run last year's data, and I've cleaned up and eliminated the squiggle from the package and the group codes. So now we're going to go to the current year tab, and we're going to press Control-E. And that creates a calculation for us. Okay? After running the Control-E, that populates the rate code and the year-over-year data for us. So now we need to go look in the year-over-year data and see if there isn't anything that wasn't tracked. And in this case, there's quite a bit. All of these codes that say NA were not tracked. Okay, so I'm going to copy those, right-click. Okay, back to the instructions. Highlight the rate codes that have an NA in their segment and copy. That's what we just did. Now we're going to go to the segment lookup. Now, according to the instructions, we are going to go to the year-over-year tab. We found the rate codes that weren't mapped. We've highlighted them and copied them, and now we're in the segment lookup tab. And I paste them underneath the corresponding, and then I type the segments into column B. So I'm going to drop my rate codes here, and then I'm going to type the corresponding segments like I see up here. So I see OTA promotions, OTA, opaque, group. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to type in group. I'm going to type in local. I'm going to grab the right corner and drag to all of the L codes. Okay. This is a negotiated rate code. This is a package because it's a PK rate, and that's true for both of those. And then these are promotions. And I'm going to grab the corner and run those promotion rate codes. Okay, now that that's complete, I'm going to go back to the instructions. So we've highlighted, copied, we've gone to the segment, and we've typed the corresponding segments in column B. Now I'm going to go to the year-over-year tab, and I'm going to press Control A. And that has cleaned up our data. Those NAs have no data in there, so now we only have fields that have actual data that are in there. So now that we've gone to the year-over-year plus Control A, and it's put everything alphabetical, now I go back to the year-over-year tab and I press Control T, and this transfers all the data to the new sheet. So one of the acronyms to remember is that after we've loaded the data in and we cleaned it up, then we want to eat. Control E, Control A, Control T, and that'll take care of it and generate the final report that we've got. So here I'm in the year-over-year tab, and I'm now going to press Control T. And as I see the blue wheel spinning, it will generate a sheet for us. And now we have sheet 1. Okay? Now this is the property data for the specific hotel. So I could type in the hotel's locator code here if I want to. The initial information that's provided is just the very basic segmentation, and it tells us the totals. This isn't a bad place to start. So in this case, I'm looking for negative numbers, and I can see right away that group is a big area where we're down. I also see that local negotiated happens to be up. Okay. If I press the plus besides that, here's where the real value comes in, because it tells us every specific rate code, every company that we've generated, and it tells us is the production up or down year over year. So if it's red and negative, that means that specific account is down. If it's black, that means that specific information is up. So in this case, on the group total, we notice we're down 173 room nights. Now that's significant because we're only looking at year-to-date from January through the first week of February. So group is down substantially year over year in the first 30 days. Additionally, group ADR is down. So as a result, group alone in this hotel is down 17,500. The total segment, and since it's not displaying properly, if I just right-click, it'll pop those numbers in for me. I just grab the edge of this and right-click. It'll automatically format for me. Okay. So this hotel in particular is down 23.7, but 17.5 of it is group. So my focus is going to be on what happened year over year with group and what do we need to go back and do and recapture that group reservation, particularly moving forward over the next 30, 60, 90 days. Have things changed? Is it a timing issue? Did a group cancel? But what do we need to do? Okay. Individually, just because a segment's up doesn't mean that there aren't some issues that you want to look at individually. So in this case, production from a particular rate code is up substantially. At this hotel, it's bid clerk, and they've done a great job of going through bid clerk and capturing business. But individual accounts are down substantially. This one is down $4,500 year over year. This one is down $1,300. This one's down $1,000. And again, we're only looking at 1 month of data here, basically. So if we start collating or extrapolating that out over a 12-month period, those numbers could be very substantial. Once I've gotten the information on the sheet, then it is real easy to just cut and paste the entire sheet, copy. So in Excel, go to File, create a new workbook, and now I just paste and drop this in. And then I can go File and Save As, Property Code, Property Code. Then I can go and save it as Property Code, Market Segmentation, and date it so you know that you're staying current. And then you format it. And the neat thing when you pull this report for the property is it does a couple of things. You have to clean up the formatting a little bit and get all of your numbers out there. But it automatically shows the expanded version to them. And this is what you would email to the hotel. It also shows you graphs of where you are ahead or behind year over year as well. So what this report does is it analyzes specifically how much revenue are you down and where are you down in the revenue, at which point in time then you can target your strategies. Why is this specifically local negotiated rate down? Has the project ended? Is the project going to come back? Has it shifted time? Was it weather dependent? Do we need to go make a sales call? Have we changed our local contact? But either way, it helps you analyze your target. Additionally, if you want to, you can also just rename the sheet. And you can keep a dynamic. So now we've shown you how to copy and paste and send the individual sheet off to the property. If you want to keep a permanent record of the property, then you can just rename this and put in today's date. And that way you'll have records as you go throughout the year to see, are you moving ahead or are you falling further behind? Because every time you generate a report, it's going to create another sheet for you that you keep adding on. So by effectively using this program, you should be able to help the properties drill down on where their focus needs to be as far as their sales and marketing efforts. It'll tell you if they're ahead or behind on group. It'll show you what their OTA contributions are. It'll show you promotions. It'll compare the year-to-year data, and it will help you focus your efforts in to improve their revenue and their RevPAR index. Thank you for your time and attention, and we hope you find this tool valuable.